the Rav Soloveitchik interacted with numerous Torah leaders. What was the special relationship that Rav Soloveitchik had with HaGaon Rav Chaim Halevi?
HaGaon Rav Chaim Halevi was an astounding individual who came to the shores of America really without parnasa. He was someone who was acclaimed in Europe as one of the Gedolei Ador, but besides his knowledge, he had tremendous prowess and almost a kind of academic prowess in other areas as well. He was fluent in a number of languages, and he had expertise in all kinds of ancillary areas that were not necessarily classic. In the early 50s, the then Prime Minister of the State of Israel, David Ben-Gurion, sent out a letter, famous letter to a host of Chachmei Yisrael. They were the Jewish intelligentsia that included at that time the intellectual elite of the Jewish world. All types of individuals were included and were sent this letter. Rabbanim, rabbis, philosophers, thinkers, savants, a potpourri of other notables. And the issue was, which is still the same contentious issue, nothing has really changed in the course of literally almost a century. Who is a Jew? How do we define what a Jew is? The opinions and perspectives of the aforementioned personalities were sought out, and among the outstanding names that were queried were two Gaonim, HaGaon Rav Chaim Halevi and HaGaon Rav Yosef Dov Halevi Soloveitchik. So Rav Chaim Halevi asked the Rav, he was very close to Rav Soloveitchik, he asked him, could you pen the letter and I'll sign it? You write the letter, you draft it, and I'll be glad to sign it. A Talmud of both the Rav and Rav Chaim Halevi was asked to coordinate between two Gedolei Yisrael, and that Talmud owned the jalopy and had the ability to go back and forth between these two Gedolei Yisrael. So I heard from that wonderful individual, David Katz, his name is. I heard the following blow-by-blow account of what transpired in terms of this letter. Rav Soloveitchik composed the letter. He brought it to Rav Halevi. He proceeded to sign it. It was then returned to the Rav for Rav Soloveitchik for his signature. But then the Rav told the above messenger, I can't sign it because I can't put my signature above that of the Gedolei Ador, above that of HaGaon Rav Chaim Halevi. Rav Chaim Halevi, what he did was he signed his name in a corner of the document because he held he could not sign his name above the signature of the Gedolei Ador of Rav Soloveitchik. So David Katz, his balabas, was caught betwixt and between. He told me he was caught between Scylla and Charybdis, a rock and a hard place, between two towering luminaries. He was besides himself. What am I going to do? He traveled back and forth a number of times between the Rav and Rav Chaim Halevi, and finally, through some miraculous kind of event, as he described it, a resolution emerged. Rav Soloveitchik discovered a tiny space below the signature of Rav Chaim Halevi, and he affixed his signature below that of Rav Chaim Halevi. David Katz then told me how relieved the Rav was when he uncovered this tiny window of space. When I heard this vignette, I was just taken aback by the anova, the modesty, the remarkable Kavanah Torah that Rav Soloveitchik had for someone who had been considered to be his revered Rabbi and mentor. I also heard from this emissary that the Rav quietly and almost unobtrusively, without any fanfare, provided substantial financial support for Rav Halevi for many years, actually for the rest of his life in America. Often we have in our mind's eye a picture and portrait of Gedolei Yisrael, primarily probably or preeminently because of their intellectual mien, but we're unaware of their pristine, refined character traits, the unbelievable modesty, the yam and chesed that they exemplify with all their other sterling traits. The Rav hid most of that from the teeming crowds that attended his shiurim, but in reality, the Rav was suffused with chesed, literally an entire brisk personality, and one only saw the sharpness of brisk, but unfortunately, most of us did not see the overwhelming chesed that was always practiced by the Rav throughout his entire lifetime on an ongoing basis.